Hey there, it's Mary Dawson, and you're listening to MWM Podcast Books series. So, it's yet another Monday, so we will talk about yet another book in this episode of Books Podcast. So, yeah, the book that I've picked up is The Importance of Being Earnest. So, I would say this is more of a script rather than a book because it's a short book. It is around 150 pages, and then it's not written in a novel or a story narration. This is written in a script, so as in like a theater script or like a movie script. So in theater we just used to have this character names and what they speak, so there's not even action, what's happening on the environment or the location. So it's just characters speaking dialogue, so that's looks like a script. So yeah, it's actually a play, so that's the reason why this book is in a script format. So the importance of being earnest by Oscar Wilde was a play, and it was a very successful play. And if you read the book, you will get a feeling of reading a script and imagining it as a movie. So I think there's a movie as well. I have to check it out. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It's a family comedy drama about two guys. So the story is set in the 19th century, and Oscar Wilde is very good in satirizing the high class society, right? The way they have their own beliefs and they look for prestigious and prejudice that they have. So it's something satirizing those high class societies. And yeah, so these two characters have been explored in a way to mock the high class society. So there is this character Jack Worthing and his friend Algernon Moncrief. So both of them have a fake name. They invent a new character. So let's if you look at Algernon, he creates an invalid friend like named Burnbury. And then Jack Worthing, he has his own fake friend, and his name is Ernest. So so that's what, like, they are kind of sharing their secrets, and they are having this meet, and they talk about how they have to invent this new character to get away from their relations and love interests. So that's how it starts. It happens in a home in London, but then Jack has someone taking care, like a sister, back in a village. So this kind of gets revealed in the conversation between Jack and Algernon, and Jack has a love interest in London, and it's really difficult convincing the mom. So it's pretty starts out like this, exchange of dialogues, and then the most important part of the play is the writing, right? So it's cleverly written, and almost every page you will burst out into laughter, especially when you have dialogues like this. You see, just let me give you some examples. No married man is ever attractive except to his wife. And then the other character says, and often I've been told not even to her. Yeah, that's the clever, I mean, the witty writing. Like, you have one dialogue which in itself gives you a laughter, and then the reply to that is even more smart and clever. It kind of makes you burst into a laughter, right? And there's a lot of dialogues like this. Let me just pull up. Memory, my dear Cicely, is the diary that we all carry about with us. So that is pretty philosophical. You cannot erase your memory unless something happens, concussion or something, and you lose your memories or temporarily forget them. It's like both a blessing and a curse. So whatever beautiful or terrible, horrible memories you make, you cannot erase them. So it happens to stay with you, and you carry it till your grave. And that was one thing. Yeah, it is awfully hard work doing nothing. However, I don't mind hard work where there is no definitive object of any kind. So this kind of clever writing, and I can keep on going. I would like to read this book again for just writing. uh, yeah. My dear boy, I love hearing my relations abused. It is the only thing that makes me put up with them at all. Relations are simply a tedious pack of people who haven't got the remotest knowledge of how to live, nor the smallest instinct about when to die. So this is the conversation between Jack and Algernon. Algernon says that both of them, they have a lot of relations, right? So they this is his perspective about relatives. I love hearing my relatives abused. It is the only thing that makes me put up with them at all. So relationships are simply tedious pack of people who haven't got the remotest knowledge of how to live, nor the smallest instinct about when to die. So he feels annoyed with so many relations and how he has to adjust his life and beliefs according to them. So that's pretty much sums up this whole dialogue. uh, and another dialogue: all women become like their mothers, that is their tragedy, no man does, that's his. So it's mostly on the comical part, even though it's satirizing. It could have taken a more sharp tone, like Charles Dickens explores the harsh realities of the society, right? So especially in the same timeline, 17th and 18th century. But then Oscar Wilde has explored it in a very comical and hilarious way. uh, and every almost like it's not divided into chapters, so it's just like what do you say, scenes. So first scene, scenes of the play: act 1, act 2, act 3. So you have 3 acts, and it happens in 3 different places. They just mention the time and the place, like time, the present, place, London. So that's pretty much the description. Usually when you think of a book, you think of like paragraphs or like chapters, and then some dialogues in between. So that's how any novel or any kind of book would be. But when you think of a play script, especially be it a film script or a play script, it has some description, but then there will be mostly dialogues, right? So you get that feeling. But then initially I found it difficult to read it in this way, but then they were saying this is a different genre, like comedy genre, and the dialogues are cleverly written. So I found it amusing to keep on going, and I kind of finished this 150 pages in a couple of days, or like 3 4 days. It was very funny, I would say. Like so as I said, you will come back to this book again because it makes you laugh, and it explores this the way in the 17th and 18th century the high class people, they always were conscious of their values, right? Like they just have to be respected. And there is this character called Lady Bracknell, the mother of Jack's love interest. And it's like one character describes the whole society that they had in the 17th and 18th century in England. So it is British comedy. So they're very good in this satirizing and mock genre. And it's one of the examples, or like one eminent case study of British humor. So it kind of goes on like this, and then at the end it ends in a heart, or do you say, happy ending. So it's pretty much there's no any emotions or sadness involved in this story. So it's going to be a laughter ride till the end. And then it's like this pretty template. I believe a lot of movies have laundered this concept of confusing or mistaken identities and clever world play. This I have seen, at least in a lot of Indian movies, they have taken this concept in a family drama where they try to where the protagonist or some important character in the movie would be taking up a false identity. And because of that there will be more confusion happening. And the confusion they use the confusion to create comedy or slapstick comedy. So that's pretty much this. So here it's dialogue oriented. And also it kind of, you need to understand how the upper class society lived those days, and how they kind of had this disdain towards other class people. And they were literally selfish, right? And also they lived not for themselves, but for the views and the respect that they get out of others. So that was the financial status, social status. So that was more important for them rather than the reality, or understanding that people on earth, there's almost every category, so you need to accept everyone. So that was not their belief. So yeah, leaving out of setting aside these social commentary, this book is really good, especially if you want to explore comedy genre in books. So it's really difficult to write horror and comedy in a book, because when you watch a movie, you kind of visually perceive it, and then it strikes you immediately, and you laugh, or you get fear, or you get scared easily. But in a book, when you're writing a book, so people has to read the words and the sentences or the dialogues, and then they have to imagine, and then they have to understand what you have written, and then feel the fear. So it's really difficult, especially horror and comedy is really difficult to write and make people perceive it through writing. So I think this is a very good work in that sense, a clever and amazing work that keeps you laughing. At least you'll laugh once in 5 pages or 10 pages. I can give you that guarantee. And as I've read, there's so many dialogues. I have so many bookmarks in this book right now, and I keep coming back to them. So if you read just one dialogue, it makes me laugh and then the reply again comes again from another character that kind of puts you off, and like you kind of roll or ruffle, what do you say, roll on floor laughing. So definitely, to explore the comedy genre, you must read this, The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde. It's an amazing story. It's a new experience for you reading it in a play script rather than a novel or short story format. So do explore this book. I'm sure it would be available in any bookstores in a town or city, and also in ebooks. There's so many apps right now on Kindle, Apple Books. So you might have this. You would have this in any ebook apps. So do read it. It's a short book, 150 pages, and very unique read, I would say. So definitely don't miss it out. Check it out. I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode on the importance of being earnest. I'll come up with more books, and we will have more guest speakers coming in the future podcast episodes. So we have a book club, right? So we have a book club of and there's around like 40-50 members in it. So I'm exploring options to bring in more guest speakers to come for the podcast episode. It's always good to listen more than one voice. So yeah, look forward to more podcast episodes, both movies and books, and see you until the next episode. Thanks for listening. You are listening to Medley with Maddie podcast. I'm Maddie Dawson. Bye bye.